Good evening and welcome to the Highgate Selectboard for June 4th, 2020. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
liberty,
for all.
just for all.
It's hard to keep track, isn't it?
Got to work on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, chorus we're not. So we'll open it up to public comments first. Do I have any public comments?
I'm here, Sharon.
Okay, Karen, would you like to go first?
Yep, sure. One, I would like to thank the select board for allowing Maha to hold their barbecue last weekend. It was a great success. We sold 250 meals, and the longest wait line we had was 5 cars. So we never even made it halfway across the parking lot. So with that, Mark from Cold Hollow Catering has given us 5 additional dates that he is able to do barbecues. I'm sorry, my phone is ringing. And so we were hoping to do the next one at the Franklin Elementary School on June 13th, but it's their 6th grade graduation. They're doing their little drive-through graduation function. So I would like to ask if we could hold the next one, which would be next Saturday, again at the arena. And then I believe our Franklin board members from Maha are trying to get the July 4th one up at Lake Carmi somewhere. So that's what I'm asking. And then I don't have the additional dates. I know there's one in August and then another one, I believe it might be around Labor Day that we're looking to do those. So we're just hoping to, make up the money that we've lost from the field days from parking cars. So.
Okay, board, what's your thought? I think it was a fabulous turnout. It was a fabulous design.
I'll make the motion. We allow them to do it.
I'll second it.
Who's that,
Any
Richard?
discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, so you're a go, Karen.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Order those chickens.
Yeah, actually the next one's gonna be pulled pork sandwiches.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what the next one is. So,
all right. Fabulous.
all right, thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Okay, do we have any other public comment?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I got, it's probably a select board item, but I don't really have time to be on for the whole meeting. The Recreation Commission got quote to seal coat the arena parking lot. We got 3 coats to seal coat it, crack fill and line stripe. Should I wait next to give you the paperwork?
yeah. Can you email it to us, Ty?
I can bring it to the office and have
Sure.
somebody scan it and email it.
Okay,
Okay.
that would be fabulous. And just indicate your choice.
Okay. Sounds good.
Any other comments for Ty? Okay, thank you very much, Ty.
Thank you.
Okay, any other public comments? Okay,
Quick question.
yes,
ATV issues on the rail trail. Is that something that we talk about in executive?
we
Talk about?
certainly can. We could talk about it in
I've got no problem
select
talking.
board too.
I've got no problem. Okay, in the select board.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fine. Because I don't want it executive. I just assumed it'd be select board, but
yes.
I didn't know where that would be, where that would go.
Yep, we'll throw it right in there.
Okay, thank you.
Definitely an issue. Okay, moving on. Oops. Sorry, I'm adjusting my little doohickey here. Okay, Chris, did you have anything specifically you wanted to ask the select board?
Yes, the MBSD board would like to request permission to resurface the 10 feet of our southern access road right away that there's some question who owns it. Originally, we thought the school owned it, but we can't find any documentation that supports it. So that would default to the town owns it, because that used to be the school street that went through before they built addition. And then they cut the street down, but we don't have any documentation saying we own it. We'd like a location, resurface it.
Okay, so was everyone able to hear that?
No.
Okay, so Chris is asking for our permission as part of their paving project to go on to School Street, which is basically the exit of their driveway. And if anyone had any questions or concerns.
I don't.
None here.
Richard?
I'm just thinking, was that one brought up that we were gonna pave that street? I know there was some talk, but
Not the School Street section where like Andy King lives on. It's just the actual south access, the exit to the school parking lot. What used to be School Street before the 80s.
oh, okay,
there's just no
okay. Okay,
Right. We
Okay, so-
just can't find documentation saying we own it.
Okay, so that's over by where Jerry LaRush used to live, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you
Yep.
see the plans, Richard?
What's that?
Did you get the plans? They were in your
Yeah, I
packet.
got somewhere here. I got a whole pile of stuff. Yeah.
So Chris, I would ask, we had talked before, are we still able to access a portion of that as the rec trail?
Yeah, I talked this week about it. We would still like to include that. Around the field would be nice to.
I'm sorry, it's really hard to understand you, Chris, only because you seem to be breaking up quite a bit. Can you-
Yes, we are looking to include the rec trail in that project.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so board, can I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so we're making a motion to accept or to allow the school to access School Street and to pave it at their discretion.
Yep.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay,
And Chris has asked for just a simple statement that was in your packet. So if you are authorizing that, I'll bring it to Sharon for signature tomorrow.
okay. Any concerns about that authorization? Can I have a motion to sign?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay,
Thank you very
Alright.
much.
thank you very much, Chris. Chris,
Yes.
while we have you, how's the school doing? what's our
Well, this
future
is a
look
crazy time. I thought last year consolidating schools was crazy. This year we get to shut them down. We're muddling through. We're we're feeding kids as much as we can. We're doing remote learning just to finish out the year. We are going to have some sort of graduation ceremonies for the elementary schools and the high school. It's going to be a lot different than what we normally see, but it'll be more outdoors, a lot more remote, a little more low key in order to meet all the COVID guidelines.
Do we plan?
Financially,
Go ahead.
financially we're pretty good for our next school year because we had already approved the budget. The following school year, I have no idea, because there's a lot of worry about tax revenue and where it's going to come from. The legislature is working on easing up the minimum amount for the ed fund to give us some wiggle room. There's a lot of moving parts. I can't really give you anything solid for an answer because they're not giving us a solid answer either.
Right. Are we still on track to consider opening?
We are trying to, yes. The governor wants to open, the agency of ed wants to open, and we definitely want to open. Right now, we are making scenarios for all options, though. Whether we do full open, we do a hybrid, or we do remote learning, because we won't know until much closer to opening exactly what we can do.
Well, hang in there. I know it's the strangest time of all of our lives at this point, but
You're not kidding. It's amazing.
it's wonderful what you're doing for the kids and making sure they have meals. And I know everybody's trying to make sure that all the kids are taken care of. So we thank you for that.
It's a credit. Well, thank you. Thank you, but it's a big credit to our incredible staff and the bus companies that service both Swanton and Highgate and Franklin. They've worked incredibly well with the food service companies to make the food program work. We feed the most kids of any district in the state. At our meeting on Tuesday night, Dan Palmer let us know that we fed out over 167,000 meals.
Wow.
Since we got down.
That's wonderful. It's wonderful.
It is wonderful. It's one of the highlights of this crazy time we're in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to live in a small town, small area where people pull together.
Yes, I agree. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, Heidi, what's up next?
You've got the Macy Road on next, and I just wanted to check if Stephen Young is on the conference call line. You are, okay. Can you hear the conversation? I can't hear you. Okay, but you can hear, okay. So the topic of the Macy Road was on the last agenda, and there was interest in finding out more about what the town could do to limit some impact to the road. So you asked me to put back on the agenda to start the conversation about Macy Road lane closure or closure. So I did reach out to AOT and I have not gotten any responses. I did talk to our project coordinator, and one of the things that he said is we would have to, if we do a lane closure, we'd have to have the equipment to make that happen. So I was able to get you some pricing. I did send it out today. I don't know if you have it in hand.
I do not.
I have it. I do have it.
You have it. Okay.
My
There was
question is this equipment coated in gold? Just curious. With the
Yeah.
numbers that I'm seeing.
Yes, that's the main ingredient.
So this is to buy the equipment?
Well, there are rental prices.
see rental pricing, then I see actual, okay, so
Yeah.
I am seeing stuff that where you can buy the equipment or you rent it.
Yeah,
Correct.
So this
Because-
could cost literally tens of thousands of dollars just for the equipment to be able to make it a 1-lane road.
Right.
So
You'd have to prolong this.
this
For
could cost,
who knows how long.
this could easily cost $100,000 just to rent the equipment.
Yes.
So Mike, what I would like to do, because I've actually talked to a couple of retired farmers and thrown this at them. And boy, I got some funny looks and some head scratching, I'll tell you. Because I explained to them from the town's view, from what I believe the town's view is. I wasn't speaking for the town, of course. But, you know, the roads being, the infrastructure being destroyed, the whole thing. And then put it back on the farmer because the farmer's really not being paid a fair price for their, because I get it. We're not trying to upset the farmers here. Might I suggest that we actually go and talk to some farmers, the bigger farmers, and ask them if we can figure something out, especially the speeds and so forth. That's something that can be handled, because I had no idea, quite honestly, what the price of closing a lane was going to cost. Holy Moses.
Yeah.
And that's all money. It's just, you're throwing it out the window. I mean, you
Right.
could spend $100,000 and you don't even own the equipment, for God's sake.
Well, there is a price in there to buy it, to purchase it as well, because Sharon had mentioned for the longevity of the project, you're probably going to end up paying
Yeah.
more. than if you
And so,
bought-
Sharon, if you don't see it, portable traffic signal controls, dual heads, solar powered, radio controlled, $26,000 a piece.
Yeah.
That's to buy it.
Yeah. But if you're going to have it for 2 years,
Oh,
because,
you're a lot smarter to buy it than you are to rent
Right.
it.
right,
Then you have the equipment to use down the road if you have another road closure. That's a huge expense. I mean, that's massive.
it is. And we don't have the budget
We
for
don't,
it at this point.
and with everything going on,
Yeah.
we don't have, how could you even bring this to the town? They'd sling us up. I mean, that wouldn't, yeah.
Kyle, I like your first idea.
Let's just go talk to them, because I know
That's right. Yeah.
one of the situations with the manure up the Gore, those trucks were actually going down Franklin roads. Someone from Franklin said, well, why don't you not destroy our roads and stay on Highgate roads? The reason that manure was slopping out was his gate wasn't closing properly. So rather than stopping and repairing the gate, that's why the manure was coming out and going all over the road. Stuff like that we have to work with. We can't allow that. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's amazing what you can find out just when you talk to a few people and stuff. And working at McEwen's the last couple of weekends, I've had that opportunity. So stuff like that. I mean, I know the farmers will work with us on this. And their speeds, especially along the Macy Road. I mean, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let's just go talk to them. I mean, we're not trying to point fingers at anybody. We need to work with them and ask them to work with us and see if we can come up with a solution to this without pointing fingers or pissing anybody off, you know?
Right.
Sorry.
And to your point, Kyle, I've started that conversation with the Mason.
Excellent.
And he brought up a point that I did not know, and that is that apparently behind the trailer, that's a little further toward East Highgate, there is only a 5-foot section of ground between that and their home. So at the current rate, they will lose their home next year. So we have a whole nother problem as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go for now. And I don't know if you want to do it as a board or you want to set up whatever. I just think we should just try to talk to them and see if we can come up with something to help resolve some of it at least.
Yes. No, I think you're on the right path, Kyle. I think that's a great idea. And I think,
Sorry, someone is trying to talk. Is that you, Steve?
Yeah, it was, because last week we had said those tankers, somebody spoke up, said they weighed 40,000 pounds, but that's empty. I checked.
Yeah.
They're over 90,000 pounds. So
Yeah.
it is hard on the roads here.
Oh, no question.
I mean, when they're
No
loaded,
question. No question.
that's a lot of weight. So I don't know. I just, I don't think that's good for the road either. But whatever. I understand the cost, effectiveness, and all that. Like you said, you're better off to buy the equipment for future or something. But yes, talk to the farmers. Nobody wants to piss them off, but at least maybe they'll slow down. Today I watched them go through here today mowing again. They're not even. It's sad because their drivers don't have to pertain to any of the rules or regulation, which is sad. They're running a farm big enough to be a business, a big business. They ought to be able to put drivers in there that can drive responsibly. But like Kyle said, talk to them. It might help. And they're friends. And the other one I know personally too that does a lot of the trucking. He goes all the way from Georgia right straight through. I mean, that guy trucks a lot of stuff in a day's time. But anyway.
Ultimately, Steve, it's going to help them as well. So
I would think it would help them, because if they can keep the road going, it's better than doing it. Then you guys got to do something major, because if they keep doing it, you keep looking over the bank here. It's not what you think. Trees are falling down and there's stuff happening, whether they realize it or not. But anyway, that's all I got to say.
thank you, Steve.
But it is 90,000, 90 to 120,000 pounds when they're loaded.
Yep.
That's a lot of weight. That's not 40,000. Yeah. So anyway, thank you.
hey, thank you, Steve.
So I don't know if you need a motion, Sharon, or we just want to, get some of us together, all of us, whatever, and just go and have some conversations.
Yeah, I would certainly entertain a motion if you'd like to do that. And
I'll
then
make that-
it'll be recorded in the minutes.
I'll make the motion that we either as a board or the board decides if a certain amount of people want to go and just go talk to our local dairy farmers, express our concerns, and ask them how we can help them and they can help us alleviate these problems that are going on.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep, we'll try diplomacy first and see if we can't work together. And like Kyle said, we're not trying to piss off any of the farmers. We know it's difficult for them.
They got a tough job.
Yeah, and right now milk's down to $10.50, and that's before they take out any of the other expenses.
It's not fair.
No,
Anyway,
it's not. It's not, and it's a very difficult time for them as well.
they work too hard to be slapped in the face. But anyways, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Next up.
Traffic ordinance was your next item.
Okay, so you want to go through them one by one, Heidi?
I think that's the best way to get this done.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not sure what everyone's comfort level is with this document, how much time you've had to look at it.
Well, let's start the process and see how far we get. And if we have too many questions or too many concerns, we will stop that process and review it again.
Okay. So starting with number 1. That was just a clerical change, frontage road was listed in our book as 27, but it's actually 5, according to AOT. And apparently it got shifted from classification. So every time there's a class change, it has to have a different number. And it was changed to 5. So no big issue there. A similar thing happens on number 2. You have Myers Road listed in your traffic ordinance, and we can't find any record of Myers Road. And it was 61, and Borderview Road now is 61. So I'm assuming that was just a change that wasn't updated. And I have, Butch has copies of this, Richard
Yeah.
copies of this, and Richard Noel. And Richard Noel did have some comments, but no one knew what that was. Both Bolio Road and Baker Road were listed in your ordinance as 13 private road. So Baker Road is staying 13, and Bolio would change to number 5 private road. Limekiln Road, and this one is still confusing, so this is more of a question what you want to do. Limekiln Road went all the way through from the current development back out onto Fortin Road. And meanwhile, Maskell Road was created, or a sign was created for one house on that road on the end that was like class 4, not upkept. So they both are number 19, Limekiln Road and Maskell Road. And when I talked with AOT, they suggested that we don't call it all Limekiln Road because there's a 911 number there on Maskell Road. So
Is it 911 listed as Maskell Road or as Limekiln?
Maskell Road.
Okay.
Well, all the ones on the developed end of Limekiln are obviously 911 Limekiln.
Right.
But this other house on the opposite end, Maskell Road, has a 911 number associated with it.
Hey Heidi,
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Does that not, at the end of Limekiln, does that not go to a trail, legal trail? And then back to a class 4 for Maskell?
I don't think it goes to a trail. Now you're jumping ahead of trails, Andy.
Sorry, I'm going on an old memory here, so.
I think there are 11 trails, and I don't believe that's one of them. I'm almost thinking it's a class 4.
Okay, because that might have explained the name differences.
Yeah.
But if I'm sure I'm remembering it incorrectly, so sorry.
No, that's
No
what
worries.
that's why we're doing this, is for the conversation. I'll check if it's a trail, but I believe it's a class 4, not maintained, between Limekiln and Fortin Road. So that one, maybe we leave and talk about it again.
Okay.
We can come up with more info. Meadow Lane came off your private road list because the town adopted it in 2015, so we assigned it a town highway number 73. Eric Drive was removed from the private road list as 74 private because the town maintains it. It was already listed in the public roads as 72. And Easy Street was given 74 private. Easy Street is a new a newer one. Lower Camp Road, there's been a natural, I mean, like a more of a conversational change over there, and it's not necessarily correct. Lower Camp Road is in as TH17 and private 17 list. Lower Camp Road isn't on our maps anymore. And I believe that's just a different section of Shipyard Bay. Now there are 2 sections of Shipyard Bay that don't connect. I believe that one was Lower Camp Road. I don't know if you want to change that or keep it Shipyard Bay. That's just the way it is on the map. It's not something that we have. I realize this is really tough without having a map spread out in front of you that we can talk about at the same time.
Right.
But in essence, it's been named both, like you have a north and a south end of Shipyard Bay that's connected by a private little segment.
Yes.
And we can change that and keep it as, make them both Shipyard Bay, or one of them can remain Lower Camp Road as it was named in your list previously.
Any thoughts, board? Lower Camp Road or Shipyard?
I like Shipyard. Because that's,
I do too.
I know that section that she's talking about, and I know
Yep.
they used to install dock systems back in the day. I think everybody knows it's a shipyard.
Okay.
So we
Make a
have,
motion to keep it as Shipyard.
so we have 2 separate numbers on it. 17 is the north end, and the lower section is 15. So we should call them North Shipyard North or Shipyard South, give them some sort of different.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
And to complicate things, Marie Drive was also 17 private. So yeah, there was a lot of that. It hasn't been cared for at all in many, many years. So I'm suggesting assigning Marie Drive 104 private. And Sullivan Drive was also missing in action. No one knows what that is. I checked with Richard, checked with Butch. No one has any recollection of that. I don't know, Indy, if you have any knowledge. It had the number 78 private, and there was some suspicion that it was off from LaFar Drive because one of the properties in there is Sullivan. But I don't know which one it is. So it's possible we should have a bit of a task force to look at these and go through them. So it isn't just, done in a vacuum.
Rubber stamping, yeah.
Rubber stamping. Macy Road, just a correction, it was listed as 47 and it's actually 4, one of your primaries. Randolph Road is listed as Town Highway 54. A portion of it is private and not maintained by the town, so there should be a private listing for it as well. Nothing was listed for 54 private, so we can add Randolph to the private list as well. School Street and Bouchard Road were both listed as Town Highway 25. School Street should be TH41, but it sounds like School Street is now, well, there's still School Street on your end, Andy. You're okay.
So Heidi,
Sure.
while you're on Bouchard, it's a 3 and then it goes to a trail, or is it a 4?
It's a 3 because the town maintains some of it, and then it
Up to the
goes,
silo, Richard told me. But what's after the silo? Did the town make that a trail, or is that still a 4?
oh, you're jumping ahead to the trails again.
Sorry.
Did you look at this? Did you look, there's a list of trails that we have to fill in names for?
Yeah. But that one there, I've heard all different kinds of stories. So I've been asking around, and Richard told me it went to a trail. Somebody else thought it stayed a 4, and I don't know. I didn't know if you had anything.
Yes, I do. So on this sheet that lists the town trails, we do have Bouchard Road in there as legal trail number 10.
Okay.
That
So-
doesn't mean that there isn't a legal, a 4 section as well. So if I look under road name list by name, under town roads, it just says 3. It doesn't list it as a 4. So apparently this is saying it goes from a 3 to a trail.
And then it goes back to a 4, because we switch off and on with Franklin, so on that road. So we're a trail, and in Franklin it goes back to a 4.
I can't answer that question. I'm not aware of
Okay.
the 4 section, so maybe we could get together with Richard and sit down and talk about this.
Okay, sounds good.
Have the map and go through it. And tell me if you want the rest of it just to go that way, or do you want me to keep going through this list?
Keep going. Let's try to get a little bit of it knocked out here.
Main Street, Mill Street, and Limekiln Street are muddled. They have been mixed up over the years. It looks like 56 is Mill Road, and Limekiln Street is 5. But there are 2 different maps. One says Main Street goes in front of the library, and the other one says it goes in front of, well, it goes along the edge of the park. So Main Street remains a bit of a mystery, and the town would have to make a decision about what they wanted that to be. Dunton and Spooner Road were both listed as 50, and I put a map in there for you of it. Somewhere along the line, one of the maps said Dunton Road Extension, what we are calling Jones Road. So the town would have to make a decision. Should that remain Dunton Road Extension as it says on the map? Or should we change it? Because I
In memory of Josh, we should change it.
I think there are 911 addresses on Jones Road using the name Jones Road, but
All right, so we need to keep it Jones Road.
Well, what about LaRock Road?
Let's keep it simple, Bruce. Let's keep it simple.
Wait. I won't say what I want to say.
Chicken.
we added 2 roads in that were not in your list, but have been existing for quite a while. Olds Road was never in the list. We gave it 99 private, and Transfer Station Road was never in your list. So that is Town Highway 74. And I believe Transfer Station Road is only maintained up to the way station. Behind the landfill is not identified as a road on the map. probably should be added as a class 4. All measurements should be added so we get credit for maintaining them if we do. And we added some newer private roads. Easy Street, Maple Lane were both added into the traffic ordinance. Can't find where NOLA Lane is. It was in there as number 61. There is a Sugar House Lane that may have been NOLA Lane at one time. Got a new name. Marie Drive, I mentioned earlier, was listed as 17, but Lower Camp Road or Shipyard Bay Road is now 17. So we gave Marie the new number 104. Thunderbird Lane has a number 12, but I'm not sure what it is. Is it public, private? We don't maintain, so it's a question. Deso Drive was corrected from 86, which Boone Drive already had 86. So we gave Deso Drive 100 private. And assigned numbers to 3 new roads: Fox Den, James Lock Way, and Gabry Lane. We updated the private and public road inventory and added road classifications to the information for further clarity. And those would be attached to the traffic ordinance for easy understanding of what roads are where. Added to the list of roads with stop signs for Childs Road, Pines Plains, Jedware Circle, Jones Road, Hoyg, Eric, Tanglewood, Therian, Transfer Station Road, Franklin Road, Meadow Lane, Luke Street, Rainville Road, and not Spooner. Added to the list of speed postings: Old Dock Road, Transfer Station Road, and McKinnell Road. And we realized that there were some discrepancies about what the road sign was versus what the map said versus what our traffic ordinance said. So the highway crew went out and checked them for us. And we checked drive, lane, road, etc. against 911 maps and changed discrepancies of either with 911 and or ordered new signs. I believe there was only one new sign ordered. And so just as you're following along, you can see in the grids with the road, like this one says drive, question mark, drive, Sullivan Drive, unknown. All the comments are in here, so that the summary was just intended to be an overview so that you could see what was proposed to be changed. And it includes the old inventory list, which was lacking several and had a few duplicate numbers in it.
So what questions do you need answered by the select board?
The ones that I have mentioned so far, and I want verification that that I'm interpreting these things correctly. Crystallini Drive was updated to Charles Circle. Spelling of Campano Road was corrected. Hemingway spelling was corrected, and we reduced the speed on Darlene, Humphrey, and Tanglewood to 25. And you have to clarify names on legal trails. So there's a map in here with all of your legal trails indicated, but you don't have names for them all.
Okay, so let's invite Richard Noel to a meeting. And if anyone has a proposal for a trail that is unnamed in town, they can send in their request and we'll take it into consideration.
Yikes. Well, Butch had, there's a map included in this packet for each one of the trails to
Yep.
clarify where they are. And Butch put some potential names on there. So it isn't, it isn't something you will just want to have a name that doesn't fit with it. There should be some review of the information that I have provided to you so that you know what the changes are involving. So you had a trail on the Gore Road that we were not aware was a legal trail, right above the intersection with Tart Road, number 6. It's unnamed. There's also one off Frontage Road. It looks like it used to be an old highway, but when the interstate went in, it was disconnected. It's number 2. Butch has suggested Reed because it's near the Reed farm. And there's also one that is at the intersection of Brusso Road and Maury Road on this side. And he suggested Sartwell as a name. So it's not ideal to be talking about this over Zoom. We would be able to set maps out in front of you and get some correct names, but here we are. So I can ask Richard to come in and have the discussion with you at a meeting.
Yes, ask Richard and ask Butch to come in.
Okay.
And then we'll have the maps in front of us. We'll be meeting in person. It'll make life so much simpler. And if we need any verification, one of us should be able to figure it out based on what we have in the knowledge and experience in both Butch and Richard. Andy, you're welcome to join in that conversation too.
Okay. Done.
Okay. Moving on. Shelley.
Hello.
Hello.
Is there
has
any
everyone
question?
Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Did anyone have any questions for Shelley about the check warrant?
I did not.
Randy did have one earlier this week, so I'll just let you know what that was. He asked about the travel for Nick, and they did have to drive a truck to Essex, Jericho area for repair, down and back. So that's where his mileage reimbursement came from.
Okay. And you've spoken to Rebecca today about the library cleaning service?
Yes. So it was one from March, right before they closed.
Okay.
Because that bill actually covered, she hasn't been cleaning, so March, April, May. But Michelle didn't feel she had been there, so I just swapped it. I debited the library and credited the town with that expenditure.
Okay. All right. Is the cleaning service back up and servicing the
It
municipal
is
building
at
yet?
the town, yes. I don't, Wendy, was she starting at the library? I don't think she started back at the library yet.
No, I can tell you not yet. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Okay. So do we have a motion to accept the check warrants and sign at a later date?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. How are the budget processes going, Shelley?
Well, I'm just wrapping up the year, and I really wanted to sit and go through everything with a fine-tooth comb today. That did not happen. I was busy doing other stuff. So it's on my agenda tomorrow, but I did sit down with Ty, since he had some questions on that paving bid. The arena looks good, Parks and Rec look good. I sat with Nick and Butch earlier this week because they had some questions on future paving. And they've overspent this year's budget, but they did have a little bit of a surplus in their fund balance. So it's going to be okay. It's not how I would like to have ended the year, but they did have a lot of unexpected issues come up with their vehicles. And then the rest of it I will get through. The library is definitely fine. The cemetery is fine. The fire department is fine. And I will, like I said, I got to go through all of it with a fine tooth comb anyway prior to the auditors coming.
Sure, sure.
Could have ended better, but
We all do the best we can.
yes.
Okay. Any other questions for Shelley? Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wendy?
Hello.
Hello.
You got 2 sets of minutes, May 21st and May 28th.
Okay, so do I have a motion to accept the minutes from May 21st?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Do I have a motion to accept the minutes from May 28th?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay,
Right. I sent out late notices today for the several hundred people that are late licensing their dogs. So I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of phone calls tomorrow and Monday. I think we are currently just under 600. Last year we ended at 900. So we have a little ways to go. So late fees are in effect, and Bonnie is also going to start calling people to get them to either call me and pay over the phone or send it in the mail. That's how we've been getting it done so far. So we'll just keep after that, and I'll keep you posted.
so just for reference, did you get mine by mail?
Yeah, I sent your
Okay.
stuff back. Yeah, I did.
All right.
A check was a little beat up, Sharon.
I had that check since March.
I saw that.
See how efficient I am. Yeah.
I just got a message. I don't know if anybody's seen them yet, but I'm told that the senior signs are in the town parks. Has anybody seen them yet tonight?
No.
Okay. She just sent me a message and said that they were up. And I told her I was on a Zoom meeting with you guys and that I would let you know. So I don't know how long they're going to be up. Do you know, Heidi?
I don't know. She sent me an email and said she was hoping to get them up tonight. So I'm glad to hear they're there.
So go by and beep for your favorite graduate.
Yep.
Right. That's awesome. So the municipal office, we started appointments this week for title work, and we are booked out close to 3 weeks.
Wow.
So that's going well. I think we're gonna have to remind people, I had people showing up, no mask,
Oh, it's a
they
no-no.
had it, they just didn't put it on.
Oh, yeah.
So I shouldn't have to reminding people to sign in so we can keep track of who's been in the building in case anything happens. And
Yes, yep.
so
Are you taking temperatures?
we don't have a thermometer, no.
Okay.
Would you like one?
I don't know that I would feel comfortable telling somebody their temperature is too hot and they can't enter. I'm not a doctor.
That's perfectly fine.
I don't know that would go.
Same.
Okay.
I'm not uncomfortable with them.
It might be a requirement. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you're comfortable, I'm fine with that. That's, we'll take as much precautions and we have hand sanitizer, and as long as you ladies are protected, I'm fine with that.
Yep.
Yes.
So other than that, it's going good. They're 2-hour slots, so it's allowing people to get what they need done. A few have finished a little early. Some have gone right up to the very end of their time slot. But we are booked out right now to June 25th, I think.
Wow.
So, yep. But I am asking people, if it's just an update or something quick and it's something we can resolve over email
Sure.
or whatever, don't take up a 2-hour time slot if you need 10 minutes.
Right.
So it seems to be going well so far. And I didn't know if there was anything else you wanted us to be doing, you felt we should be doing. You're hearing we're not doing.
So when are we looking at opening the office full time? Getting a lot of people out there asking.
What do they need?
They just want you open. I guess that's one of the biggest concerns that I'm hearing. I don't know what anybody else is hearing, but
I honestly, I haven't heard a single person ask me, and they're following the state guidelines. So I would just refer them to the state guidelines. It's kind of like a retail store that didn't follow state guidelines, and people say, well, we can go in this store, but why won't you let us in our store? Or why are we wearing a mask? It's because if people follow the rules, they follow the rules. So that's what I would refer them to myself.
right. But I guess what I'm asking, Kyle, is where are we as far as open?
Well,
Having the girls go back full time.
that would be the governor's decision at this point, I'm guessing.
Well, and they are open.
Yeah, they're open. I mean, they've never closed. They're they're not physically in the office. The work
they
is,
are.
We have been, and if
Yeah.
someone pulls up, they see the sign to go to the back. And as long as nobody else is in there, Sue Coda came in today, and did all of her deposits that she had asked to do weeks ago, or said she needed to do.
so you did open June 1st then?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been open.
The front door is still locked. It's the only way we control how many people are in the building.
Absolutely.
There's
So
no
that's your
social
answer. That's your
distancing.
answer, Richard. They're open.
Okay, so everybody's working all day long now.
I can speak for myself.
You are?
If I'm not in the office, I'm working from home. When the last appointment goes home, leaves the office, I'd say Wendy and I have been there until 3:30, 4 p.m. every day this week.
Okay. Starting at 8 in the morning? Or
First appointment is
8:30?
at 10. We're there before then.
Yep, I've
Okay.
been there by 8:30, 8:45.
okay.
I guess if somebody's not getting what they need, I want to know about it.
Okay.
Who isn't getting what they need?
Okay. I just think there's people just talking,
And-
I think they're getting what they need. I just think there's people that want to know if you're there, if needed. Or...
Maybe I'm going to shoot myself in the foot, Richard, but the few always have the largest voice, the loudest voice of the many. Our employees have been doing their job, and they've been doing it to the letter of the law. And those people that are asking, simply tell them to call the town, go to the town clerk. We're elected as board members to oversee it. I have zero issue with what's gone on. I'm quite impressed actually with all the Zoom stuff because I'm starting to get used to it. I hate it, but I want to meet face to face. But you can't let those few people get in your head, because I think that's what's going on. And you just tell them they're doing their job. They're doing their job, and the board. I mean, I personally am not speaking for the board, obviously, but what more can we say?
Yeah, no, they're open.
They're open. They're doing their job.
Okay, that's the biggest thing. Everybody else was open. Are they open? Okay, you're open.
Everybody else is open the same way they're open, Richard.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I'll if we can solve it over the phone or email or mail, if they absolutely have to come in, just let us know you're coming in or stop by. And if we're not busy, or
Make an appointment.
Right.
That's all it takes.
just contact us. If you've contacted me, I've gotten back to you. So
Exactly.
if you're looking for something,
yeah.
Every time. Every
you're
time.
getting an answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And-
No. I just asking. I'm not getting.
No.
They call.
No. I'm just saying, Richard. It's my opinion that, there's people that don't think because somebody's in, they don't see them in a certain spot that it's change. This is change for everybody. Nobody likes change. Nobody's used to change, and when they see change, they immediately think that maybe they're not getting their money's worth. We're still getting our money's worth. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can attest that and I'm a pain in the butt about it, if I send a message to Wendy, it doesn't take her 3 minutes to get back to me. She's on it. Same with Shelley. If I need something from Shelley, they're on it right off. I mean, so
yeah.
I don't have any reason to
I can't say they haven't. They've answered me.
Does Wendy have more for us?
Tired, Bruce?
Does Wendy have more for us?
No, I just wanted to get it on the record and in the minutes about the online land records. Sharon, you signed something for us last week.
Yes.
And I just wanted to get it on the record that we will have online land records probably by the end of the summer.
Great.
And I'm very excited about it because God forbid this ever happens again, but it was a lot of extra work for me and I didn't mind doing it, but this is just another tool.
Yes.
And I know Randy's big on things like this and he's not here tonight, but so thank you for signing that. And some of our researchers are very excited about it and some of them are like, well, I won't get to see you. Well, you can still come in if you want to, but it'll save you a lot of time if you don't have to drive to Highgate. So thank you for doing that.
Yep.
Show them how to do Zoom.
Right. I think most people know now. But that's
How many
it for
more
me.
weeks? Hey, how many more weeks do we have to do this Zoom?
You shouldn't have to do it again.
Good.
For
I'm
the
happy.
time being. Unless something changes.
Good. Hell, I'm ready to get off it.
And I think the board needs to really look at our personnel policy and establish some guidelines for working at home as well. Because there are times when it would be more beneficial for them to have that option. So maybe we want to consider some kind of policy or some kind of guidelines that says, hey, if you want to work from home for 2 days a week and you still get your work done and you still are working for the town, amen, that's great.
I definitely support that.
Because it definitely is a changing world.
I'll support that, but I think it's something we need to don't put off. Sit down and talk about it as soon as possible.
Yeah, but it's one of those things I'd like to do in person.
Yes.
That way we get everybody's input, get the employees' input, and that way we have a policy that takes these things into account.
I would be in favor of that.
Yeah.
I mean, the one task I gave myself today completely went out the window when I set foot in the office. And, you know, interruption. So
Yep, I get you.
sometimes a day in solitude working on one project is much more helpful than being at a desk.
Right.
We move on to Heidi's other items.
Bruce is tired. Come on, Heidi.
Come in, coach.
Thank you, Heidi, and thank you, Bruce.
I just wanted to give you an update on the vendor situation. So I spoke with Greta Brunswick regarding the Brownsfield issues, and she spoke with the consultant that understands the contamination on the property. And basically, what he said is it's up to the town. It's a town decision. They're not going to stop it. They're not going to say it's a bad idea. And so Greta came back to us and said, look at the liability and make a decision. So I spoke with the LCT, our insurance company, and let them know what the case was. And he said it's using a municipal property in itself comes with some sort of liability. So he strongly suggested that there be an agreement between anyone that you're allowing to use town property. That issue aside, he said that you would want to have a hold harmless agreement with him. And contamination is an issue on its own, and insurance companies don't cover that. You'd have to have a specific policy to cover, which the vendor won't be able to get and the town won't be able to get, except at great expense. So the short answer is, if he could use a municipal property on the opposite side of the road that doesn't have contamination issues on it, it would be a much lesser liability for the town. So it's up to you.
Okay, board thoughts? Richard?
Yeah, I'm okay with using the other part, that isn't contaminated. The only thing that I've been thinking about is, what if somebody else comes and wants to do something there? What do we do? Are we? Say somebody in town comes and wants to put a stand up. Do we make room for them? Do we do, and what is the town charging for rent? I haven't heard much about that.
What's the town charging for what? I didn't hear you.
For rent or a lease or something to park his trailer on our land. Do we do anything? I just haven't heard anything about that. I haven't heard any board members say much about that.
Yeah, it's kind of uncharted territory. And your vending policy is very old and very outdated and not very practical. I mean, it's a $15 permit. It was designed when the Grateful Dead came to town to have some sort of way to control all the people that were hawking something, and it hasn't been updated since then. So you would be asking for a $15 fee. If you wanted to charge something above that, you'd have to make a decision on what you wanted to do.
Heidi, a $15 fee, is that for the whole summer, or is that for,
That's for the whole summer.
Again, your vending ordinance was created for a one-day event in mind for the Grateful Dead concert. So they just said, charge everybody $15. So it hasn't been updated. So it's, you know, definitely something we should put back on the radar to look at for future reference. But
Getting the Grateful Dead back?
yes. Yep. Talk about economic development.
Wouldn't be the strangest thing this year.
I don't think we're going to get Jerry back to lead the band though, but
Yeah, I was going to say maybe someone else. But
There's probably another Garcia out there somewhere.
So Richard raises a good point. Is it something you want to offer exclusively, or is it something you would offer to other people if they also wanted to do this?
Can we define this area of contamination and mark it out somehow? Is it that distinct?
Well, I sent you the information in a map today, and it's got all of the shaded areas of contamination.
Okay.
So basically, there's a couple little slivers that have no contamination. Some of it has very minor. The portion that we received from the school was not evaluated in the Browns field, so we can say there are no known contaminants. We don't know. So, you know, you can look at it that way. I guess the question is this something the town wants to do? Do you feel like this is a good use of the properties, and is that the spot you want it on?
I think it is. I think we need something like that, but I just want to cover all of our bases, you know.
Richard does bring up a very good point. I think the thing should be that if someone else wants to do something that they can't offer the same products or whatever, then whatever's already there, that first come, first serve. So that way you don't have two guys sitting each other selling a hot dog for 3 cents a piece. I mean, the idea is to give the town a service, something, you know, that comfort food, but then to turn around and we're really not going to make any money off the deal. I mean, we're really, it's kind of a thing for the townspeople to me. I mean, giving them something that they don't already have, you know, they don't have to travel outside of town, and you might be able to draw some people in, might spend some money at your gas stations or something, but it's no big kicker for us, that's for sure.
Bruce, what are your thoughts?
Kind of a little crazy, but the thought just popped into my head, given any liability issues, would we be better off to utilize the arena parking lot instead of the, I can't remember the other designation, the Mesha property parking lot? Maybe allow them to advertise on the Mesha lot, but then actually have people up on at the arena.
I actually thought the same thing, Bruce, but the problem is for the vendor, he wants to be, or she wants to be, where they can be seen. And
yeah.
The rink is definitely a better place, no question, but it got to be where they're seen. It's knee-jerk reaction to stopping to buy something like that. I mean, it's not like we're going to travel to Highgate to buy a hamburger, and they see it and they want to stop pulling and stop and buy something.
I wonder if
Okay, yeah.
ride might be an option.
What's that, Heidi? I missed what you said.
I wonder if the park and ride could be a decent option.
Well, I wondered the same thing, but I didn't know because it was funded by, that was probably a state funded thing. If there was some, I actually wondered the same thing.
I think there might even be enough grass at the end, at the western end of it for him to park on the grass and not even take up any parking spots.
The only issue you run into if Joey's Junction does reopen, obviously that would be a major problem.
Well, the other thing is when Joey's was open, how many complaints did we get about customers parking in the park and ride that weren't supposed to be there?
Right.
Well, people, okay, what about using the park, the end of it towards the municipal building? And my recollection is that the intent was customers would drive in and drive out. So you could kind of set up a traffic pattern there pretty well.
Yeah, the only thing I would say about that is if the Memorial Day committee can work on the monument, and add the wings that are scheduled, he'd be in the way, that's all.
Could we back him? Could he park right in front of the grills? Is there room right in front of the grills at the end of the town shed?
Probably, as long as he wasn't in the way of the crew. Like if they do any paving, a lot of the paving equipment usually stays there.
Is there any reason the Highgate Falls Park is not being mentioned at all to get all the traffic off 207?
No, you could
have parking and plenty of space.
Yeah.
Where would you park them is one of the question. Where would people park?
Alongside Park Street.
Park Street.
Park Street itself? Yep.
Sounds ideal.
If other vendors wanted to join, there's plenty of space for that too.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it is.
We're paying you that big buck, Shelley. That's a great idea.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's just.
There's a lot of traffic that travels 207, and I believe you wanted to do this on a Friday night.
Yeah.
So it's a work day.
Yeah, and you'd have, some walk-in traffic as well.
Yeah.
If you go up Brusso Road and what have you, you could pick up customers there as well, and Luke Street, Park Street.
Can they set up on the grass there though?
Yes.
They'd have to set up on the grass, obviously.
That's your decision, Kyle.
At field days or any of the fairgrounds, they're just set up on the grass.
Let's ask the gentleman, see what he thinks about those other spots.
Do they need power?
No. No, they have generators.
So are we all done with that topic?
I am. I think Shelley is a good idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
See if he'll go for that.
Okay, I will do. Just a note that at the next meeting, we have the final hearing for the airport study, infrastructure study, and that's just a requirement for the grant, just to close out of what we spent the money on and what occurred. Oh, we lost our phone call. The Hydro Cedar letter. I put a letter in your packet This was a request from Regional Planning Commission. We received a hydro Cedar as part of a grant that they gave us in 2018. And I think the auditors have asked the state to get each town to say that they own the equipment and the state does not own it. So that's what that letter is. It's just a very simple statement. Highgate requests a transfer of ownership from the state of Vermont for the hydro Cedar purchased through the state fiscal year 19 municipal roads grant and aid program. The equipment was purchased on 12/4/2018 for $5,878. Its current estimated market value is $4,500. The equipment will continue to be used for the same use and intended purpose as outlined in the municipal roads grant and aid agreement. I'll take this to Sharon for signature tomorrow if you agree.
You need a-
Bless
Thank-
you.
Thank you, sir. Do you need a motion?
Yes,
I make the motion that we allow Sharon to sign that.
do I have a
I
second?
second it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The census has been sending us updates all along. I've been continuing to copy you on those. In this last packet, the information that they sent listed us as about 51% response rate and much lower than usual. They haven't been able to do all the normal door-to-door knocking. So they have asked if they would be able to stick information, if we would be willing to put information on the census in our tax bills.
I would like to check on the percentage of completion prior to that, just because it is a little bit of extra work. And also our tax bills go out so late in the year. I didn't know if they knew that.
I don't know. I'll send you the information, but so it's something we can decide at a later date.
Yeah,
It's on the radar.
okay,
And I put the emergency management plan under your section, and also VLCT was circulating a resolution for select boards to sign. I put that under the select board as well.
yes. Did everyone get to see that letter?
Yes, it did.
Yes.
They're asking for support for financial hardship for towns and municipalities. Does anyone have any thoughts about that? Can we have a motion to sign? Do you want to sign?
I'll make the motion to sign it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay,
That's it for me.
okay. So Vermont Emergency Management. What are we looking for?
This is just an update, so I circulated it to all the departments. We've updated some information, changed select board members' names, updated school authorities, and just some minor tweaks.
Okay, yep.
We believe it is ready to be adopted by the select board, and I'm sure you've all looked at it. So.
Has everyone had a chance to look at it?
I have.
Looked at it? Bruce?
Yeah.
So do we have a motion to accept the emergency management plan for the town of Highgate?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, this has to be signed by both the chair and the vice chair, so I will try and catch up with both of you for this one.
Okay. You know where to find me. Kyle,
Vice chair as well, you said?
Correct. That's
All right,
you.
well, if you can give me a heads up when you've got it at Sharon's office, shall we call it?
Second home.
home.
Okay.
Everybody kind of aware there seems like there's a little bit of a lag time, at least on my computer, between someone speaking and then, like, for instance, when Richard made a motion before it appeared I was able to speak into the computer. Just sometimes things just seem a little disjointed here, and I'm thinking it's just there's this lag in how quickly the
No.
the
What you're
screen responds or something.
talking about.
I know at the moment, Bruce, your lips and the sound are matching fine. But yes, occasionally there is a lag.
Next time we won't have to worry about this.
There you go.
Richard.
Amen.
Kyle,
Oh.
ATVs.
Yes, we've got I call it a major issue with the rail trail connecting 78 by Jill Rainbow's old place to the rink. Something needs to be done. Something has to be done. I went over today and I looked at it. There's actually been UPS vehicles go down that rail trail. I don't know if the GPS told them to go that way. Not only are there ATVs, but they're actually vehicles at in the wee hours of the morning using that part of the trail.
They're running all the way to Swanton.
Okay, so I had called no less than 10 times. I spoke to Heidi about this. I actually sent her an email. I think it was Sunday, and he responded first thing Monday. He gave me contact for Vast, Ken Brown, and another contact for Ken Hopner, I believe his name was. The only person that returned my call was Ken Hopner, and he's no longer associated with Vast, although they're having the same problems where he's located. Ken Brown, I've left messages, and like I say, I've called no less than 10 times since Monday. Their voicemail their message doesn't say that they're out of the office because of the COVID-19. They're not saying, they just leave a message, I'm on the phone, but I've gotten no response. So at this point, I don't know what our legal ramifications are, but we need to do something on this trail to stop vehicles, not just ATVs, but vehicles driving down this section. It looks like, I don't know what the deal is with this trail, as long as people can access it by horse or walking, or they're not going to ride bicycles with the stones like they are. But we need to do something with some cement blocks or something to stop vehicles from being able to drive through here. I realize it's going to create another problem because then they're probably going to end up going down 78. However, that will let the police be able to do their job. And I looked at there's no way of anything accessing the trail as you're going, I guess it's west from 78, which is the right side. But on the left side, there is a property there that there's spots where vehicles could access from their lawn. And so I don't know exactly what we can do, but I know we need to do something. And I'm looking for suggestions, ideas. I wanted to talk to Butch and see what he thought about some cement blocks of some sort. I don't know what they cost. If we have anything in inventory.
Well, Kyle,
Yes.
there is a very considerable number of some concrete barricades over on the frontage road property. They're scattered all over the place, hidden out in the brush, and it's now
Well, that-
hidden by brush. We could put, I don't know how many, but a lot of them.
That would be ideal, and you wouldn't have to put them end to end, of course, but you'd have to actually
No.
put some down to protect the homeowner's property on the left side, and just a couple so they can't access the trail. I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't take many to one rotten apple, but people's properties we got to worry about here, just their peace of mind. You get woken up in the middle of the night from screaming ATVs, and if people just respected it, there wouldn't be an issue, but we need to do something, and I just looking
Well-
for the board's thoughts on this.
I could see we might have to move them for the snowmobiles come winter time.
No question, no question.
But my feeling would be to just do it. You know, the state's gonna hem and haw over it, and they're gonna have all kinds of excuses for not doing it. Even though there's not supposed to be any vehicular traffic on the rail trail from north to south and east to west. It's supposed to just be pedestrian or horses or bicycles.
The no gas powered vehicles other than obviously in the winter, snow machines, you know, and if we have access to these blocks, and obviously the ones on the ends preventing vehicles from getting on the trail, we'd want them painted orange or red or something. We're not looking to hurt anybody, but something needs to be done, because I'm concerned. Even the police would be concerned that if people are trying to get away from them, they use these trails. I mean, it's not good. It's just not a good situation.
Kyle, got a question for you.
Sure.
Yeah, now the town doesn't own that rail trail, right?
My understanding is they do not own that rail trail.
And I know they've been doing a lot of work. Is it Velco or somebody's been doing a lot of work on that trail? Do we have to get permission from them to put blocks there, or you know?
It's not. I don't believe it would be Velco. I believe it would be Vast. But having said that, I mean, I've got my phone that can show you how many times I've called Vast with no response. And with all due respect to Vast, I mean, we can't wait for something bad to happen for them to return a phone call. So
because Kyle, I think somebody else owns in there too, because I know when we were talking, when I was on the school board, we had a discussion, and it was somebody else that we had to deal with. It wasn't Vass.
well, I mean,
Somebody else owns that right away.
the railroad, right? The railroad. That's the actual railroad.
No, the
right?
state, I believe
It's
it's the state owns the
Okay.
railbed.
Go ahead, Andy, before they cut you off.
Well, I believe there's several committees. Lamoille Valley Rail Trail would be the name of it. I know Vast does have a great deal of input on it, but I think that the governing committee is to do with the Lamoille Valley Rail Trail.
And that has nothing to do with Vast.
No, it's at the state level. And
Well, fantastic.
What's that?
That's fantastic. That's where we'll go next. That's where
Yeah,
I'll go next.
absolutely. And I'd agree with Richard that you know, there's a legal access issue as far as putting blockades. You know, the only place you could get away with it is within your 25-foot right of way of your town roads.
That's
So
not a
like
problem.
like on the Gore Road, you could probably, you know, easily put some sort of, you know, at least something to slow them down anyways.
Well, the truth of it is, on the Gore Road side, you got 100 yards. You got 100 yards for it hits the trees, and there's no way of keeping them off the trail. In that, on the other end, you could.
Right.
But then, if you don't do it on both ends, they're going to end up tearing across these people's lawns, and that's not going to work. You'll keep the four-wheel, you know, Jeeps and
I have
UPS.
seen of course, I live right right on it here, and I have seen a decrease in traffic since people are going back to work, so that's helpful. Another thing I've noticed that's made a difference is the fact that up in the Northeast Kingdom, everybody seems to be jumping on the bandwagon of opening up all of their roads, and so everybody's all excited to drive on pavement with their ATV, I guess, so they go up there. So I have seen in the last 2 weekends, I've seen a drastic reduction, but man, it's been, they'll go by here 40 or 50 at a time.
Yeah, I've seen the
So-
same thing.
So can I just ask, we can table it for tonight, but could I ask Heidi, or if you could find a contact for the Lamoille Valley Rail Trail, and I'll be more than happy to do the legwork from there.
So
Yep.
the,
I was just looking now. Yep, I will forward you something.
so the other thing, Kyle, is this certainly isn't a new problem.
No.
But we were having great success with St. Albans City Police. So that's another option, to call and continue to report these people, get photographs, get pictures.
It's
And,
it's tough because you're talking 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning.
trust
I mean,
me, I know.
Yeah, you live right there too. You're on it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll do some more research. Thank you, Andy, for that information. I didn't realize that that's how that worked, but thank you.
Okay.
I had one other thing, and it was
Yeah.
just the old dump off 78. A few weeks ago, there was a fire down there. Structure burnt. It caught the woods all on fire. I'm just curious why that isn't blocked off so people can't drive out there.
That is not our property.
That's not our property. No,
It
that
is not.
No.
That is
Thank you.
owned by a private person.
Thank you. That's all I need to know. Thank you.
Yep. Anything else for the select board items? Do we have any other public comments? Yeah. Go ahead, Amy. Oh, I guess you were just signing off. All right, so do we need to go into executive?
I don't believe so.
Heidi, do you have anything?
Well, I just wanted to make sure that we have a solid plan. It sounds like there's an enthusiastic desire to meet face to face next time. And I did forward the open meeting regulations that talked about how that could happen. Channel 16 has set the 15th as their date to start filming again. So they will be available to film. They are asking that their camera people are sent into safe spaces where boards are observing the regulations carefully. And if you have a chance to look through those requirements for the meetings, they are still anticipating that there would be an adequate distance between all people present, and as well.
How many people are you expecting for your airport study?
Well, I'm not anticipating a big turnout. It's not really a presentation of information like we had before. But we've yet to meet for a Zoom meeting with just any of the agendas that we've had with less than 14 people.
So Richard had an idea.
I would suggest holding
Why don't we use the arena?
it at
Why?
If we use the arena, we could have plenty of room for social distancing.
I would suggest.
Shelley, you keep breaking up, hon.
I'm sorry.
Say it
Well,
again.
Say it again. We didn't catch any of it.
I was suggesting the same that Kyle just said, using the arena for safe social distancing. If you had 25 people, which is still the max at this time, we would have plenty of room there to do that.
And I just want to confirm that that actually wasn't my idea. That was Richard's idea. So
I like it.
Okay, so let's plan on using the arena.
Okay, that seems like a much better fit.
Okay.
I think it would be much easier to manage.
Okay, so I do need to have a short executive. So Shelley, I would ask you to stay. Heidi would ask you to stay. Wendy, why don't you stay too, just so you're in on the loop here. So I would make a motion to exit the regularly scheduled select board meeting and enter into executive with Heidi, Shelley, and Wendy.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second,
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay.